Rosann, we've known each other for 3 decades.
Yes, a long time.
And you have been a professional counselor.
As you have been a professional counselor, how many people have we known in Hong Kong?
Yes, quite a lot.
So many different people.
And so many changes.
And that's why we want to think about women now and women then, and how women have changed over these years.
That must be very interesting.
Yes.
And it covered different generations.
Always.
Well, if they're interested in what we are talking about, how are they going to find us?
They're going to find us Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, PsychoAlchemy. We are women now and then.
See you there.
Dorothy. Texting, touching. Now, touching is very important.
Yes.
Because in the human body, the skin is the largest organ, and touch means so much. Women sometimes will just grab each other's hand or on the forearm and say, "How are you?"
Yeah, like I do that too.
Exactly. And it's done easily.
Yes.
So touching means I'm with you, I care about you. What does a hug mean these days? Ooh, now we have the whole me too. So if you have a mentor, male or female, to hug or not hug, girlfriends outside of work, they can make up their own rules. Families, some families hug, some families don't hug.
Oh yeah, and Chinese family, that to a lot of us is quite like a taboo.
Really?
Oh, definitely. I know a lot of Chinese family, the parents never hug each other, and the parents seldom hug their children. When they were young, they would carry the children, but hug is something different, right? And and I feel pretty sad because so many Chinese families have so little physical touch, and I would say about 25, 30 years back in Hong Kong, at that time there was this program from the I think originated from the US. It's called Life Dynamic. It's experiential training. They took their program to Hong Kong, and one of the exercise is called the hug line.
The hug line.
So they set up these 200 people in some sort of system. So you have an opportunity to look at one another at a moment, and you can decide whether you just stare at each other, you shake hands, or you can hug each other.
Oh wow, an experiment.
Yeah.
Experiment.
And the thing is, you can see at the beginning, a lot of people are so reluctant to hug. Don't feel comfortable with that. So you can see it's like a taboo in Chinese society. And because it's over 200 people, so if it's one by one every time, so the whole hug line is about 100 people.
Yes.
And every time after the moment is gone, you move to another person. It's a new moment, and you decide whether to hug or not. And you can tell maybe after 20 people, you suddenly realize when you just stare at that person and not showing some sort of gesture of human contact, the other person was so disappointed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And after maybe another 20, you suddenly realize, so it's no big deal. Hugging is not something sexy. It's not sexual, right? And people are willing to let go of this protection. And once they hug, they are so connected. And that's one thing I really appreciate then in the 90s when Life Dynamic bring in this concept to Hong Kong people. But a lot of time, people will abuse this sort of hug because how you hug can change the whole thing, right?
How you hug, lessons and lessons. Just think, though, at the airport, when you see people coming in, and they haven't seen each other in a while, there seem to be spontaneous hugs there. Okay, a baby, you're touching them all the time, patting the back, rubbing the back. At what age does that not become appropriate? I don't know. But working with teenagers in sex education classes, it's very important to teach you should ask before you touch any person.
Yes.
What? Yes, because people who are used to being hugged and used to hugging, you don't ask, you just hug.
You just do it, right?
Just a minute. We're in an international setting.
Yes.
So we don't know what that person is willing to tolerate, whether that person wants to be
Or
hugged.
might misinterpret the hug.
Yes.
I would say I'm a little bit American in a sense. When I'm excited, I would do a little bit of these. You know,
Yes.
if my friend is driving next to me, and when he or she took me to my house, I feel very appreciated. I would say, "唔該晒，唔該晒," right? So it's like a quick pat in the shoulder. And sometimes if he or she feels something wrong, I would just rub the back a little bit. 冇事嘅，冇事嘅. It's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's going to be all right. But I can say, I will see people now seem to be less willing to extend this physical touch than
And the meaning is not clear.
the meaning's not
The
clear.
meaning's not clear. In working with teenagers, I have said that if you want to hug someone to say hello, then it's a hello hug.
Hello.
Or it's a goodbye hug. It's not, I'm going to press my body into yours forever and ever. It is a pause.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing wrong with asking,
May
can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Can I give you a hug? May
Right.
I give you a hug? I walked into school one afternoon and there
Yeah.
were two boys
Yes.
who had me as a teacher in class.
Uh-huh.
One was from Texas, big old guy, great big. Oh, Dr. Gao, how are you today? Can I give you a hug? Okay, right? And the words were hardly out
Polar
of his
bear
mouth,
hug.
but there he was with a polar bear
Yeah,
hug.
right.
Standing next to him was a young boy, also about 15, but from Korea.
Oh.
And the Texan moved on. And this Korean boy paused for a minute. And I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Dr. Gao, may I give you a hug?" So I said, "Yeah, hello, how are you?" He put his hands down and he said, "Do you know something? You're the first girl I've hugged."
And it sure feels good, right?
And I said, "Okay, I'm
Let
glad."
me tell you, all of you, a secret. If one day you bump into Rosann, you definitely ask, can I give you a hug, Dr. Carl? Because it's such a good experience having Rosann give you a hug. Everything just melts, right? It's like a great, how we say, a dosage of love. Just like the oil tank. Because I think it's not just the physical touch.
Yeah.
It's just your openness and your acceptance. And
Oh, you're
and
very
the-
kind.
Oh, no,
But the 15-year-old boy was truly wondering how to behave in an international setting. You know, he could have been 25 or 35, and he's now in this international setting. There's a female. She looks like a female. She talks like a female. Do I touch her or not touch her? It's okay to ask.
yes, yes.
Could we have a hug?
Yeah.
Could we have a hug?
I have no idea that's like a proper way to ask, as if you're, oh, come on, if you want to hug me, you do it, right? Like, can I kiss you? Right? That's the
Different story.
Different story.
Different kind of touch. We're staying with hugs for this one.
So hug is okay to ask.
Because it's a feeling generated. But because we're all from different cultures, we don't know automatically, is it okay to hug or not to hug? And then there's different kind of hugs. The guys, I think many of the modern guys have learned, if you're going to hug a woman, you can either do it with a bit side to
Side to side.
so that you're not pressing into her body. But it's two arms and two arms. You're also not touching her bottom. Very lightly, maybe the lower back, but not the bottom. So guys got that. If it's face to face with a guy, I think the guys seem to pull their chests back.
Right.
Pull the chest so that their arms are on the shoulder, the
Yes.
back shoulders of the woman.
Yeah.
But there's no touching in the front. So we have this anatomy of a hug going on,
Okay.
where people are trying to hug and trying to be
Uh-huh.
to maintain a relationship.
And not and proper, right? Don't want to
Yes,
intrude,
we
make
don't
you
want
feel
to-
uncomfortable. I have a question.
Yes, why not? Let's do this.
Actually,
Hugs.
sometimes people will ask something like pretty stupid.
No.
In Chinese, may make a lot of sense. Is may I have a hug? I want a hug. That's what they say. 我想攬攬.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
If someone go in front of you, say I want a hug. So it's kind of mean if you say no.
Yeah, the person is expressing a need. That's a feeling. I want this relationship to help me.
Yeah.
Hug the person.
The person.
Hug the
Nothing
person.
to lose, right?
I think so, but there might be others who feel very differently.
Oh
Dorothy.
yeah, yeah.
They want a cerebral relationship. They want a thinking
Well,
relationship.
actually, I really admire if someone is brave enough to say something like that. I have been in a very devastating situation, and you really want someone to physically hold to you. So
Yes.
that's why you want a hug. So and since we are up to this hug concept, we are going to talk about the book you are going to bring
Oh, the
in,
book,
right?
the
Yeah,
book, the
please.
book.
Yeah.
There's this book been around for a long time, mid-80s, and it's called The Little Book of Hugs, a complete collection. What's fascinating about this book are there are many, many illustrations
Yes.
of different kinds of hugs.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's a kind of book that belongs in every grade school classroom, so people can point to it, and into the secondary schools.
Oh, yes.
And maybe into the corporate libraries as well.
Yes.
But the question is, what does the hug mean to each person? Now, maybe we can't explain what it means. We know we want to hug. Remember, hug is emotional, not logical. It's feelings.
Yes.
When a goodbye hug is, it means we've had a good time
Yeah,
together.
sure,
I
sure.
want that feeling to last. I want to tell you I had a great time.
Yes.
I'm going to miss you. And you hold on to the person. You physically hold on to the person to say, this connection was good. That's a lot different from text me when you get home.
But the thing is, I'm 100% for physical touch, but sometimes I tend to hesitate now.
Yes.
Because if the other person are expecting text me when you get home, and you get out of the car and you just go over to his or her side and, hey, come on, come down. I want a hug. I want to say thank you. Well, maybe
Oh, that's
is it
difficult.
too? I don't know. It's just how can we break that barrier when you want to show your appreciation by telling that person, I really appreciate you, but not just text you. And I don't know, it's how the other person might interpret your hug, your gesture, and what if he or she is not willing to step out of the car? Right?
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. So
We also see it in a student and professor, student and teacher relationship.
yes.
Where the student feels so grateful.
Uh-huh.
They just got that good idea. The essay was all right.
Yeah.
And the student may say, I want to hug you. I want to hug you. To which the older or the more senior person said, well, for the moment, let's just hold hands. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But the older or the more senior person must give some physical direction.
Yes.
Because if you say nothing, it confuses the learner, the student, the mentee, if you will. Another thing I've been with some groups where they don't hold hands at all, and they don't hug at all, but they wish each other well. We wish you a safe journey.
Hi.
And the eyes
Yeah,
communicate.
connect.
The
Yes.
eyes connect, but no touching the bodies. So that human beings have so many ways of expressing emotions. So many ways of expressing them.
Yeah.
But talk about the family and emotions. There was a film you were
Oh,
talking
yes,
about.
yes.
The film.
I was thinking when you talk about maybe someone are more willing to show in emotion,
Yeah.
whereas the other party are more reserved, withdraw.
Yeah.
I immediately think of the movie that is my favorite, but that was also my father's favorite
Oh,
movie.
really?
Yes, my father
Oh,
really
my.
loved that movie, and it was an old movie, a classic. It's called On Golden Pond.
Oh,
right.
that is a classic.
That's a
That is a
classic.
classic.
Yes, it's so good because it's played by Henry Fonda and also by Jane Fonda.
Yes.
Father and daughter.
Actually, father and daughter.
Actually, father
Yeah,
and daughter. And not stereotyping. Henry always gave me an impression that he's more stiff, very, know what he wants, not easily change his mind kind of, I would not say stubborn, more righteous kind of man.
Ah.
And Jane is always like those old spoiled, do what she wants, and very hippies kind of girl. And in that movie, I really appreciate she's willing to play her role as a daughter, and she's already married, have a teenager boy.
Wow.
And she brought her son back to meet up with her parents who live in the beautiful Golden Pond. And her father, Jane, was just observing how her daughter, according to father, is sort of like wasting her life because she didn't marry properly. She now become a single mother. Her relationship always screw up, and the father was not happy. But the thing is, you can see subtly the father really loved the daughter.
Yes.
But you can imagine such a good drama because father-daughter is already very dramatic, and the mother is played by Katharine Hepburn, right?
Wow.
Another fantastic
actor.
right, Oscar best actress, and she is like the bridge between these two dynamic person. And I always remember how
The bridge.
Norman, that's the father, and the daughter is called Chelsea or something like that, right? And they always have this very tense relationship, and somehow the daughter always want to get the father's attention and love, and the father always want to challenge the daughter to accomplish certain things in order to give her the love, the attention she wants. So you can imagine the whole movie on the relationship is like a very expressive daughter
Yes.
feeling so difficult to open up the heart, the mind, or whatever, the door of the stubborn father. So the movie is my all-time favorite.
And it was your father's favorite.
Oh, my father loved it. First of all, he always, when he was young, he just loved Henry Fonda. He said Henry Fonda was one of the best actor other than Gregory Peck, all those Humphrey Bogart, all that, right? But and he understand the father's feeling. For men, if you are too soft-hearted,
Yes.
maybe you cannot properly bring up your children. So a lot of time, the father will play the bad guy's role.
Yeah.
Right? I think same with Western culture.
I think that
we
might be
Chinese call the
fathering.
black face and the white face.
Okay.
right? The father is always the black face person. And whereas the mother will always be the one to pamper the child, oh, your father is not that bad. It's sort of like the explaining, the one who do all the explanation. And so this movie, and since this is our first episode on relationship, I would say go for the classic, because this
Yeah.
kind of relationship issue will not outgrow. It's still happening today.
Yes.
Even today's father has a difficult time deciding whether they want to be a stiff, righteous father or a nurturing, loving father. And in Chinese society, I will hate to tell you, the father are still playing the black face role.
Oh.
Yeah, still, because they go to work, they bring back the money, so they are the one who will decide what you can buy, what you cannot do, right? So the mother will say, "Hey, wait till your father got back home," as if you are going to be punished.
Oh.
Yeah, so have you seen this movie before?
I've seen this
Yeah,
movie.
80s, this
I-
movie, yeah.
It's a great movie. But in this hour, we have done what you wanted.
Yes.
We've talked about mothers
Yes.
and family relationships and fathers.
Yes.
We haven't talked too much about the man in the woman's
Yeah,
life.
we can go a little bit deeper into the
Next
family of origin.
Yes,
right?
family of origin, and then the love of her life. Is there one man? All of those kinds of topics related to men.
Yes.
That's what we do the next time.
Okay,
Okay.
so see you next week.